Meantime, Barnaby Joyce officially sworn in today, and I love that his little boys were just as playful as every other little kid were. They don't care whether they're at Yarralumla or whether they are in the backyard of their house. They're just playing around, and it was good to see. But one of the things I love most about Barnaby Joyce returning to the second most powerful job in the country is that it sends lefties nuts. Here's just a taste of the independent media and their response to Barnaby Joyce returning to the Deputy Prime Ministership. This was the garbage that they ran in The Guardian today, where they referred to the grotesquerie of Australian politics because he was able to get the majority support of his party room to become leader. Did they say that when Turnbull rolled Abbott? Of course not. On Channel 9, they were happy to say that Joyce begins his first question time with a very strange rant, which is the line the Labor Party used about his appearance in Question Time today. Meantime, over at the Channel 9 newspapers, the analysis piece there was that old grievances were behind the spill. No matters to do with policy, no matters to do with advocacy, no matters to do with who is the best person to fight the lefties at the upcoming election. And of course, over at Taxpayer TV, Radio and Internet, it's all about identity, where they were able to find some regional women who believe that the election of Barnaby Joyce pushes the world back 10 years. Now, the Labor Party's tactic today in Question Time was basically to try to do everything they could to make Barnaby Joyce seem like a nutter. Now, you've seen him on this program for a long time. You have agreed, like I have, with most of the things he said on this program over the past 3 years when he was in the wilderness. I look forward to the opportunity to hear from him in the next couple of days, and he has an open invite. But have a look at how Labor tried to box him into a corner today, and they were doing it with a wet lettuce leaf.
The Deputy Prime Minister has mounted two leadership challenges. One on the very day in which this parliament honoured bushfire survivors, and one during a global pandemic. Why is the Deputy Prime Minister only focused on his own job and not on the real needs of Australians? And I refer to the Deputy Prime Minister's statement, quote, "I don't want the government any more in my life. I'm sick of the government being in my life."
The head of Women in Agriculture has said reappointing the Deputy Prime Minister to his role would be a demonstration government members, quote, haven't been listening to women, end quote.
Is the Deputy Prime Minister's return to the job good for the women of regional Australia?
So despite all of the attacks and the people who think that Twitter is the real world, well, of course, Barnaby Joyce is from the real world, and this is why they hate him so, because he couldn't be more effective. How's this for a bloke who is ready for the fight?
Mr Speaker, I suppose I was reflecting on what would happen if the member for Grayndler was the government. And I must say at the time it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I was overcome with fear and trepidation as to what might happen if the Labor Party was to be the government. But later on, after I cooled down, I realised that we were the government and everything was fine.
Don't you love the po-faced lefty ministers from the Liberal Party sitting behind going, oh, this guy? But again, he is a powerful advocate and he speaks like normal people do. And just like normal people, they have flawed personal histories. But those personal histories are hardly any reason to be scared of this guy. This bloke is a formidable political opponent. That's why they are going all in to try to colour him from the moment he has returned to the job.
On our side of the political fence, we focus on regional jobs all the time, like we focused on them in the live cattle trade, like we focused on the regional jobs that were going to be lost when you brought in a carbon tax.